Hi, I'm Myochi.
And I am Renee, and welcome to the 40 Spot, where we discuss the highs and the lows and everything in between of being 40. Please like, comment, subscribe, follow us. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit that notification bell so that you know every time that we go live. Also, something else that's new, we're going to be going live on IG. Also, if you're listening to us wherever you get your podcast, please rate us. So when people look for us, we can be at the top of the list at the 40 spot.
Yes. So today we are going to just be talking about this year, 2023, and what we're looking forward to in 2024. But most importantly, we're going to really get into like, what have I learned from you? We just kind of was talking about what we learned this year, and then we started talking about, some things that we've learned from each other. So that's what we're talking about today. But I do want to say that I am so looking forward to the next couple weeks.
What being off work.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, next week I will be well, not next week, the following week I will be off. So actually it's a little bit more because Thursday morning that's when I'll get off. And then they won't see me until 2024, that first Monday. So I'm ready.
Yes, honey. We're gonna be having a ball in Atlanta. What is the Urban Professionals New Year's Eve party? We've gone there at least twice together.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to 2024 and all that it has to bring.
Yes, I am too. I'm looking forward to a change in scenery. I'll be going back to my home state of South Carolina, and then I'll hit Georgia. Then I'll be back into Tennessee. So I'm going to be putting some miles on the car and everything. But I am definitely ready. I think one of the things that's going to be most difficult is like, okay, I got to really pack for over a week and definitely make sure I have what I need for New Year's because I won't have access to my closet. So or anything. So it's like at least I'm not flying so I don't have to worry about being 50 pounds or more.
I will say this. We can just start there. Like one thing that we've done a lot of traveling together. And
Yeah.
either was just from state to state or even we've traveled out the country, we've traveled state you know, different states or whatever from city to city. Anywho, one thing I could definitely say I've learned from you is when it comes to packing, be prepared for every scenario.
Yes.
When we went to Puerto Rico, he was like, "Oh, well, you were like, oh, I have this. Oh, what about this? What's the vibe for tonight? Like, she ready for every vibe. Be ready for every vibe."
Exactly. Because, one, you need something just in case it rains. What about if it's cool or if you're traveling in the wintertime and it's extra, extra cold? But not just club clothes. Okay, go out. I'm chilling. I need to be comfortable. I need to be outside. What if we get invited to a gala? You got to have something that's kind of after 7 as well. It's like
You are right. You are right.
so. I mean, you got to have your different looks and stuff. Um, do you remember that time we went to the Kentucky Derby?
Yeah.
At one of our Brianna's. It was her birthday, but her birthday always coincide with the Kentucky Derby. And so I had brought like 6 different wigs. And I remember looking back through those pictures. It's like every time, like, okay, we was at this party. Okay, I had a different wig. When we was at the Derby, which it rained, it was so cold. I had on a different wig. We was at her house doing something. I had on a different wig, and like if you did not know this was the same weekend, you would think, okay, well this is different weekends. Like no, I had literally brought like 4, 5 weeks with me. But it was like,
I had one because I think I had just started my locks. So I bought a bunch of wigs just to get through that what quote unquote ugly stage, which honestly, lucky for me, I never went through that. So I was just kind of trying out different things. But I had my little curly locks because it just was started, and then I had this real big wig where I loved that I gave it to Renee.
Yes,
My
yes,
hair.
yes. I made that wig
You
actually.
did. You did. You did make that wig.
Yes, yes. So it's like, as I say, look, we have been through a whole lot. Because even with her lock journey, do you remember I went with you when you started your lock? You don't
Really?
remember? Yes,
No.
yes. The very first day, because you was just like, we was I think we was kind of really just getting out of med tech school or whatever, and then he was like, "I think I want start locks," and I was like, "You sure?" Because my son father had went through that phase, and I remember him cutting them off a couple of times because it was like, "Oh my god!" When they get about an inch, then they look like little worms, and he just was always just clear cut or whatever like that, and he had cut him off, started him, but then once he got out of that quote unquote ugly phase, and I was like, "You sure you want to do this?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I remember I went with you, and it was because like your hair was already almost shoulder length, but then once they did them, it's like, good grief, like it take all your length away. I mean, more than half of the length away, and it probably wasn't even a month after that. I can't wait for them to get long or whatever. It was just like, oh my
That was a
god.
long process. Oh my god. But I would say that better be something you learn from me is my patience. Or some level of patience because it's so many people that start and stop blocks. And I think I was pretty lucky because I moved to Philadelphia when I was doing the travel tech stuff. And so I was going somewhere to get my natural hair done and they did locks. And the lady told me, you don't have to cut your hair because I was thinking I would have to cut my hair to start them. But I was
And that's what everybody was doing, the big top. Cut it all
right.
off.
But the thing is, I was completely natural. Like I didn't have any more relaxed hair. And he was like, no, you can just get it started there. And so when she told me that, but yeah, I actually did it like a week or so before my 30th birthday.
Yes.
Yep.
And I remember just going there because if everybody who was here, they remember when Emmanuel, he was on actually like around, was it at spring of the year? I want to say maybe around February or whatever. We had him on, and
Right.
he has like amazing locks. I mean, almost like waist length. They probably are because he always has something. And I remember like his locks was not as long, but then they were just like, I can't wait for my locks to get that long. And I was just like, it's a process.
I
Like
used to
they
be like
go,
this, holding on to my hair. Like, grow,
because
grow.
it was like, okay, is they locking? Is they locking? Like, just one, is they locking? Within 30 days, I already wanted them like to the waist or whatever. So I will say this: if you were starting your lock journey now, you probably would have started them and then would have been like, no, I want them long, and you would have went and got lock your stitches. I definitely could have seen it because it was like, Handy, you wanted the hang time. So
I did. But I'm glad I waited because now I have hang time and it's mine.
yes, a whole lot. And I mean, some people I've seen on the internet where people they just like, okay, you started your dreads, like those who went through the entire phase to get to wherever they at, versus those who take a quicker route and they get lock journey and stuff like that. So it's just kind of everything. But speaking on your 30th birthday, one thing, there was the first time I had ever ridden in a limo because you had
Really?
a limo. Yeah, yeah,
I didn't know that.
yes. And let me tell y'all, oh my God. So she tells me a time to be there. I get there. Don't start with all that head rolling and stuff.
You've told this story
I
already.
don't care. It just like the story of how I found out it was no Santa Claus. Guess what? Some stories they are just gonna be retold and shit. I can't tell. Who. I'm like, where's everybody else? So she just felt like, oh, I'm gonna be super late and they was gonna be waiting. So she gave me like an hour or hour and a half early arrival.
Renee, you had a propensity of being really late to stuff. So I didn't want you to miss it.
I wasn't gonna miss. If I had missed the limo ride, I would have driven my car.
I know, but I wanted you to come. That was the whole, thing. So
Yes,
my
and
bad for
one
trying
thing
to
I, and,
feel
and with
bad.
and with it, I learned you hate big bins of flip flops at Walmart. Like, y'all, she ain't got drunk, and it probably was like a 20-minute monologue about these flip flops.
It's less about the flip flops and more about that is where I was working at the time, and I was with that department and all the things that go on behind the scenes. I will say I still am not a fan of bins of stuff because it's like I can't get to it. It's just complete mess. No, thank you.
Because that one day I remember I was in Walmart and I seen her being a flip flops, and I took a picture and I texted to you. He just went off, and it was so funny. So it's like, yes, that's a trigger, not a flip flop in itself, but a bin of flip flops specifically at Walmart. Like, you want to set it off, set it all the way off. But yeah, so that's one thing, like this funny thing like that I've learned. And I remember during that monologue, you was talking about you was trying to lose weight and stuff, and you wanted a crystal with cheese and some Dunkin' Donuts. Not Dunkin' Donuts, some Krispy
Oh,
Kreme donuts. So we was asking the limo driver would he take us and stuff, and then he was like, "I'm gonna eat it or whatever." It was just like all I did was lose 20 pounds, and we was just like, "That is amazing." But I don't know how much weight like you wanted to lose or whatever. But that's one thing. Like prior to meeting you, and during that time when I met her, I was definitely like 60 pounds lighter. I was like 125 pounds at best. I never had an issue with weight or anything, but like that was the first time like I ever had went to a gym with you to work out and like different stuff like um about food choices, like just throughout this entire friendship and sisterhood, I have learned more about
well, I'm assuming she learned more about food and what your body needs. Seems like, for the good or bad of it, I have been on a what you would say journey, a health journey. Excuse me. But what's important for me overall is being able to eat the correct
mhm,
amount for my body long term.
something went down the wrong pipe.
Go ahead.
Your mic is muted. Okay, so something went down the wrong pipe. You know, it is respiratory season, so I hope that Myochi is not getting a cold or whatever. But you know, just eating and it was just like working out can be fun, and I really got to see firsthand how a person who I don't want to say struggle, but you know, are not happy with their weight. Like how things just kind of, because in my mind at the time, it was just like, well, you know, just stop eating or just exercise or whatever. And it's not always just that easy to do. And now, since I'm overweight, you know, didn't I know it's prepping me for my weight loss journey now. So I kind of know what I need to do but it's like over, and she and I, we have been friends now for 18 years. Um, we always can mark our friendship with Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah.
That's when we started med tech school together. And
First day
we
of
just
class.
yes, yes. And we didn't even know kind of like what anything was going to be or whatever. And it was just kind of like, here we are all these years later. I wouldn't take nothing for the journey and stuff like that. And that's why it's like, not just, piggyback on like, what about your friends? But it's like, what have you learned about your friends now through the years? So it's like, just from that, different type of exercises, different type of diets and stuff like that. Like Myochi, that's my guru. And it's like she done tried these things and not like, have you heard about this? Have you heard about that? And I remember protein shakes and she was just like, gotta be careful because some of them they chalky. You don't want to eat it. And I'm just like, girl, this is why these people be making us money because you would try some stuff.
I try about, yeah, that's the one thing I can say you probably learned, that I'm willing to try just about anything, and not just in weight loss. Like when it comes to
Yeah,
food, I am a foodie. I want to try it. I want to see it. But before I was so rudely interrupted by my coughing, what I was trying to say was, being healthy has always been important to me. And even if it was about weight or just being healthy, like it's important to me for movement and making sure I'm getting out and walking. At one point, I was like running. Baby, this was a long time ago. I was running consistently or walking and making sure I was running at least a mile. So and it was so funny. I know a couple times, like when we first started and we was going to the gym at TSU, you'd be
yeah,
like, "Yeah, I ain't never did this before." Cause I'm like, "Girl, you can do that longer than a minute." And you be like, "Listen, my body is telling me something totally different." And even when we would go and walk on the
yeah,
trail, and that really made me have to see from a different perspective, because at first I can remember we walking on the trail and I'm like, bet we about to do these 6 miles. And you were like, okay. But then a few miles and you're like, oh, my legs. And I was like, what is wrong? But remembering that even though I wasn't always doing it as often, I like conditioned my body to do certain things. And
yeah.
just being able to hold that, like, yeah, everybody has a different starting point, and it doesn't make it a bad point. It's just a start is different points. And we all, like, there are definitely different starting points that I am compared to you, and being able to hold that and respect that, like, okay, you're right. Because I want to hit them 6 miles. I remember that. And you were like, absolutely not.
Yes, and it also put in perspective that just it's weight does not equate to being in shape
Mm-hmm.
at all or whatever like that because I was talking to my sister the other day and we was talking about those Hoka shoes and stuff and some of them had a rocker bottom. I was like, I believe that's when I started having problems with my foot with plantar fasciitis because I remember we would go and walk on that trail and I would leave out of there and it's like my foot, both of them would feel and definitely my right foot was more pronounced. It would feel like it was on fire. And I was like, do yours feel like that? It was like, no. And then now looking back, it was like I was in like these Reebok shoes that had these balls on it that's supposed to kind of help with your core or whatever, which they are not made for walking, whatever. And then now you just kind of see that whole phase of that rocker bottom shoe they have phased out. So I am sure that there was other people that probably ended up with feet issues, calf, knee, all these other different type of thing issues. And I think your body probably already need to kind of be in alignment with it, and then you can strengthen your core versus, hey, this ain't it.
They're not. They're probably not designed, or were not designed for a long distance walking. Like if you're at work, you get up, you move around. Some people wear tennis shoes at work. I know we did in the lab, but they probably weren't designed for that. And it's unfortunate because we trust these companies to do things and to be giving honest feedback as to what they're creating and what it's supposed to do. But honestly, if there was a podiatrist or a chiropractor we could have consulted, it would have said, don't do it.
They probably would have said, "Don't even wear the shoe." Period. Because like even most podiatrists, they would tell you, "Do not wear heels," because that's like the worst thing that you can do is wear heels. Just from a full body standpoint and stuff. So that happened. And Miss Burnett in the comment, she said, nor does it equate to healthy condition. There are plenty of slim people who are not healthy. Absolutely. And I remember I worked with this one med tech. She was very thin at the time. I was thin as well. But she had familiar hypercholesteremia. So like she had like a cholesterol of like 300, 400.
Wow.
Yes, but based off of that condition, their bodies do not process cholesterol at all. So like she already knew that she more than likely was going to have heart issues. So it did not matter even whatever she ate. It's just that her body just accumulated. It did not, you know, transfer it to make other different things and stuff like that. And it was just making so much of it. And then, you look at her and you ain't got a shred of fat on you. You slim and stuff. She was like, she has to do that because you don't want to have to compound the problem. But it's like she has to eat and you can't be on just a water diet
Right.
the whole time. So that was just amazing, because that was something that you read about and then just, meeting someone, but like their family history, almost everybody, probably 35 and up, had strokes or heart attacks due to the hypercholesteremia.
Wow.
Yeah. So what is some things you done learned about me, girl?
Well, like I said, the first one is like to always be ready. One thing I have learned from you, I think, and this has been a long journey of learning because
Mm.
for the most part, I think it annoyed me. But as I've gotten older, it has helped me. Like the flim flam. Oh, be on the flim flam. The flim flam. Oh my God. I need a schedule. I need a schedule. I need to know where we're going and what we're doing each hour by the hour. Like, honestly, that is, for me, that has been in the past important. And I think that has some anxiety of like FOMO and I don't want to miss out on anything. And I don't, I want to make sure that everything is done the right way, whatever that's supposed to mean. But I have just really learned how to not do stuff just on a flim flam. Well, I can't say I can't, but that's still
Well,
not.
for people who don't know what a flim flam is, that's off the cuff. No, we go wing it willy nilly. Whatever your cliche is, it's like we ain't got no plan. We just going in. We just diving in. We just go hope for the best. But whatever it is, that's what a flim flam is.
So yeah, there's not a lot of things that I say, even today, that I'm like, I'm gonna go flim flam. However, I've met somewhere in the middle of a flim flam and a plan. Somewhere in here, I can go with the flow better. I can at least, especially when I can feel myself like really like checking off the boxes if I'm doing something. And like, you know what? It is okay. Whatever happens, happens. Let's just see what happens. So I've definitely learned that skill from you and be able to use it and incorporate it in my life. Um, that's just something that I think is not an easy thing. It sounds easy, but it's not, right? It sounds easy to be like, I'm just going to flim flam. But it's actually not. It's actually, as I was, not to be all philosophical, but it's almost like an act of faith. It's like, we're gonna try it. Let's go and do it. And I'm like, no, what are they gonna say? What are they gonna do? Like, who knows? We just gonna go. It's like, okay. So that is I definitely love that about you. I've seen that
Oh, thank you.
with work, with school, with anything, honestly. Like, you wanna go try to see? Sure. Where are they? I don't know. We gotta look it up on the GPS. Okay. So that is something that I appreciate about you, and I know that it's like I said, it's just a pure, honestly, it's like a pure act of faith. Of yep, we're gonna go with it. It's fine.
I never really looked at it as an act of faith, but it is one of those things where it's just like you really are hoping for the best, and it's like I don't know, because I remember when I started medical school, and she was like, "You just going down there? I ain't never seen this island. I ain't had time to look it up to see what's out there."
Don't even
I
know what's
like
even for real.
I
I
was
bet
like,
you
I'm gonna
need to
find
think
out when I
about.
get there. Same way when I moved to Chicago and stuff, and it was just like, okay, I'm gonna find out when I get there. Like that's just it is. You know, just like really. I was like, it was just kind of like I'm all in. It's gonna work or it ain't. But it's like it's gonna work. It got to. It's got to. But one of the things, huh?
Okay.
Yeah, but speaking of faith, one of the things that I don't even know if you realize and stuff that because we were so young, we was in our mid 20s when we met, um it's like I had always was raised up in church, and you know, rarely ever miss Sundays or whatever like that, but meeting someone who wasn't just raised up in a church, but I felt like your relationship with God was much closer than mine. And I remember I forget you had bought this Bible, and it had um the lady, oh, I can see her face, but it had like her notes to go with the Bible and stuff.
Oh,
So
you
it's just like,
biased.
yes, yes. And I was just like, okay. And I think that was like one of the first times it was we had went to the that what it was Lifeway. It was right off of Broadway. They tore it down now and they built a hotel there. But we was in there and like you was looking at books like self-help books and stuff like that. And it was just like, oh, okay, it made it more than just going through this ritual behavior of, okay, I'm going to Bible study on Wednesdays, I'm going to church on Sundays, I'm gonna go to Sunday school. Yes, I'm learning, but what about my own personal relationship with God? And it was just like it empowered me, and it's like, okay, I want to now. I kind of have like someone my age where it's like, okay, I can model behind that. And I know I probably never told you that or whatever.
So,
And and it was just like it definitely it motivated me in a different type of way. And I remember during that time, it was like, uh hope you don't give in for me because it was just like, well then I'm celibate too. And I never had thought or considered being celibate. And it was just like, and I was like, well, how long do you be celibate for? Like, what's the purpose? What is this? Like, I didn't, I didn't necessarily think it was a bad thing, but it was just like, okay, tell me what's the good thing about it other than, all right, you sitting back, you're chilling or whatever. But it's like, what's the greater purpose of that or whatever? And, I tried my hand at celibacy and I made it almost a year. This guy he tricked me, but
not he tricked you.
yeah, I had to tell you in the deal.
He said, "Come on, look at it right quick."
Yeah. Girl, that was Corey's stepdaddy, honey. He tricked me. I was like, I was in the 11th month. My goal was to go a whole year,
Mm-hmm.
a whole year. And oh, the devil, he come at the nighttime. I tell you that. So,
He be 24/7. I think just talking about celibacy. I mean, just in general, it's. I think I see it a little bit different now than I did then.
okay.
Not totally. You know, some would say, "Oh, it's an opportunity to get closer to God," and what? And it is. These computers, wonderful. Some would say it's an opportunity to get closer to God, and it is, but I think it's more of an opportunity to get closer to yourself. And
Absolutely.
connect with the God on the inside of you. And it doesn't have to be a certain amount of time. So even with having that goal, or I want to make it a year, I think it's not really about just the, like you said, it's not about the obligation. It's not just about the showing up and going to church on a Wednesday. Actually, it's about what are you doing in the meantime. Are you
Hmm.
connecting with yourself? Are you connecting with the God within you? And that's just kind of really where I am spiritually as well
Hmm.
now. But
Yeah.
that's so funny. Like, I mean, it's funny we have these conversations that it's like, dang, we were just talking about everything, weren't we?
Right, exactly. But and it's like it's a lot of stuff that I think, at least for me, when we were younger and we were kind of like first met, and I think it's just like that with any relationship that you have. Initially you are learning that person,
Yeah.
like what is your personalities, what are your quirks, what do you like, what do you dislike, your history, what is your goals and stuff that you're setting for yourself, and depending on where you meet them at in your life, be it mentally, spiritually, career wise, education wise, like wherever it's at, then it blooms from that. But also you can learn, and learning you, I learned things where it's like, hey, this ain't no bad thing. I want to do this too. I
Right.
want to do that. And you incorporate some of those good things as well, because I don't ascribe to bad catch on as well as good, quicker than good. I think it's just the openness and willingness for whatever to catch on, just go catch on, be
Yeah.
it good or bad. And I think now, since, we 18 years deep in the sisterhood, it's more of um I'm learning from your journey
Mm.
as a woman, as your career changes, different things in that nature, because it's like, okay, I want to say I know you at your core. So it's like, okay, now let me get these other different layers, or I'm learning other things based off of things that we go through now. And it's like some of the things that we go through now is like stuff where it's like, girl, oh, we thank God for the journey, because I know back in the day that definitely would not have been, the situation. And one of the things that like um I was I don't know if I said on the show, like I was dating this guy and we had like a 6.5 year um situationship. I don't want to say entanglement, relationship or whatever. And he was in the military. And I remember like I couldn't move because I was gonna be sitting in front of this computer waiting for Skype. Like he the reason why I bought a computer. I wasn't even thinking about no computer, because like the internet was not as big like how it is now, where it's like you need it for everyday functioning and stuff. It's just like as long as I got a house phone, I'm good. Cell phones, it was like, I had one, but it was like, it wasn't just 100% necessary. It wasn't, because one, back then, I couldn't use it, excuse me, until 9 o'clock at night. And then,
When
and it
it's
was going to be on Fridays before the weekend. So it's like, no, you got to call me on my house phone. Then we can talk all we want to. So, but like I remember, that's why like even like if I hear the Skype song that started playing, like instantly I go back to that, because like when he was deployed, girl, everybody knew. And then I remember you was like, quit making yourself so available, because I don't know what it was. We had made plans, and I was just like, I ain't gonna be able to go, because Chris, it's gonna be he over there, and it's the time difference. It's like he a whole day ahead. And he was like, why are you making yourself so available? And like we explored it. And I'm like, well, what you mean? was like, when he doing whatever he got to do, like you got to be there. It's like he not gonna die if he don't talk to you. But I'm like, but what if he died? He over there in a war zone, and you was like, it ain't that you can stop that. It's bones over Baghdad, bitch. And I'm just like, I was so hurt. I was like,
Sorry.
but it was like, but the thing is, like, you was a champion for our love. It's like, girl, y'all gonna get married. Like, even my mother thought was like, yeah, he the one. Y'all gonna get married. Clearly, that didn't happen at all. But it was in that relationship. Like, I learned when you was talking about, don't be so available and don't change your plans. Now, granted, advice is given. It ain't always, that is
I'm trying to put this.
that ain't always the walk that the person that's giving the
Always
advice is doing.
the advice than to take the advice. That is a given.
Absolutely. But I did learn that, and I mean, I think when I 100% put it into action was definitely much later in life. But the foundation was there. I had heard the word, and I had put it in my deep down in my pocket, and I used it, you know, willy nilly.
Will it not? With yep.
I
You
used
know,
it for the floor slam.
you use it for something important later. But I will say, I think honestly, Renee, a lot of it has to do with your heart of compassion. Um,
Mm.
like you have such a big heart in a way that sometimes I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you? Even now, like what? But
But they be calling me mean. That's why I'm just like, I'm really not.
I mean, you can't be mean. Nah, your words can cut like a knife, a 7-inch, 7-inch sword. However, your heart, so those are two different things. That's the thing, right? Those are two different things. You will literally, like people say, oh, she'll give you the shirt off your back. No, she literally will give you the shirt off her back. She be like, no, go ahead and put it on. I'm gonna go grab something else. Like that is Renee, and and I think we've talked about this on the show before, but just how you kind of embraced me because, like you said, when we met in med tech school. My first day of school, Katrina hit. I already knew it was coming because my mom and my brother were already in Nashville, and it got cold like right after we started, and I hadn't even got a coat yet. So you're going through a whole lot of stuff because everything's destroyed, and I didn't bring a coat from New Orleans.
Hello.
So you gave me a coat. I went to your house to study, and you gave me a coat. And it was like, okay. And I'm like, well, when do you want it back? You're like, no, you just use it until further notice. So I completely, and I'm saying that for example for me, but you were like that forever, like with everyone that you've come across. You just like whatever anyone needs, you want to help everybody, even if you don't like them. You be like, I don't like them, but I don't want nobody to suffer. And I won't say that I'm not compassionate, but I definitely could be like, no. You sure you want to do that? I'm like that even now when people say so. So it's that something about you that I've learned and I've tried to even incorporate in my life. And I feel like, those are the important things in our life. And just being able to have you in my life all this time, and be able to briefly reflect on that life with you, you know, is great.
And that's amazing that you even say that, because a lot of times, like, I will help people, and I don't keep no record of it. Because I remember in Chicago, it was like I definitely was, as I said, I was running a shelter house, and one of my good close friends now, I didn't know her. And I remember my mom was like, you gonna let her come and stay? I was like, yeah, I'm gonna let her come and stay. I said, I'm gonna just say a prayer, hopefully that she won't steal from me. And I have to fight her to the death. And we laughed, but it was for real serious, because it's like I don't have nothing to steal, but people that steal, they'll steal.
Right.
And it was like I really did not know her or anything like that, and I it was just for a few months, um, but we still are really, really good friends now, and, from that, it was like 2 or 3 other people that ended up coming and stay, and it's just kinda like it's amazing how people just like, "Hey, Renee, I'll let you come and stay with her. You go ahead and give us some money or whatever like that. 'Cause, yeah, ain't staying with me for free. It's no strangers for free or whatever. And it's one of those things where it's just like, okay. And I see that in me from my great grandmother and from my grandmother, just extending their homes, to someone else that you really don't know, but it's like trying to do my best, Jesus. You
I remember
see it.
that because you had a 1 bedroom apartment,
Yeah, it went on one bedroom little
a
studio.
studio, and you'd be like, "Yeah, this person come and stay." What? Where are these people staying? I'm just like, well, I don't want to leave her out there. I mean, it was again a heart of compassion. Like you just wanted to help people, and you still to this day that is where you are. Even when people do you dirty, you be like, I said, I can't leave them out there. Yes, you can actually.
I can, and then sometimes even on the back end. Now I will say now since I've gotten older that there has been times where I've gotten burnt, and then like I'm so mad at myself afterwards. I was like, why I feel like I gotta save everybody, and I was just like, okay, it, it got to be that godlike quality in me, to want to help save and help or whatever, and even if it is extended. But sometimes, it's just like, all right, you got that one time, you mess it up, do not call me no more. Because I'm a Leo at heart. I don't know a lot about the zodiac signs, but I do know it's just like if we love you hard. We will do any and everything. We will give you chances, but it's just like once it's done, ain't no coming back from it. And I will say this, and I think I got the best and worst combination. My mom was a Gemini. And my mom, she was hardcore, it was hard being, you know, dark skinned, pretty girl growing up in the South. She had 3 older brothers, 3 younger brothers. She was tough. So, she definitely put that on my sister and I. Um, and so but it's just crazy because it's like it's countless stories that we could just say. Well, I would say this. So what is one of the biggest things that you think is most impactful that you have learned from me down through the years?
I will say one of the things that I admire from you and I have learned from you is because I mean it's weird, right? Because I wouldn't say that I don't seek out other information.
Mhm,
But also I don't. It's one of those things that like, yeah, I don't have a problem seeing other people's bigger perspectives, seeing other perspectives. Um, but I think because you just have such a thirst for knowledge, and not to take away from mine, but you just really do. You like, and you want to know about everything. That's the bigger thing. You know a lot about a lot. Like we could be talking about the most randomest thing. Like, well, da 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 da. No, actually, I didn't know. And why do you know that? And not in a bad way, but also it can be the most random thing. So like this thirst to just know. If it's something
mhm,
to know, you want to know. And I think along with that, that comes when you're talking about different people's perspectives. That I am a proponent. Like I don't like to hear about other people because I don't matter to me. It don't matter to me what you think. Not like that, okay? In the idea of like some fundamental beliefs that I have. I find it challenging to like read about other people's values that are completely different than mine. Um,
mhm,
that are and not just that because it's different, but just it's something that goes completely against my values. So it's those things that
mhm,
go against mine. It's like why would I lean my ear to that information? Why do I need to learn that? And, I think over the years, because it has been a long time that you have just been open to even just to know that I've learned the importance of that,
Mhm.
um, knowing others' perspectives that are completely different from yours. And like I said, I feel like I've always been open to other perspectives, but like the ones that, if I believe that, women have autonomy in their body, I don't care to know why you think they don't.
Mm.
So for something like that, like that doesn't matter to me. I mean, and it genuinely doesn't matter to me now, but it's that idea of being open to having these dialogue and conversations with people. And you can't actually have dialogue and conversations with people unless you know what you're coming about, right? Because if not,
Right.
if you don't have the information, then it's just arguing.
Yes.
Then it's just
Absolutely.
arguing your belief.
Mhm.
But if the goal is to at least understand, and even if the goal is to change someone's mind, how can you change someone's mind if you don't even know how they think? So
Yeah.
in learning that, yeah, I think that is just an amazing quality of yours. That like your thirst for knowledge is huge. Like she thirsty. There's people like, oh, you so thirsty. She thirsty, thirsty. Mind on everything about everything. Like it it don't have to be about one particular thing. I mean, just
Right.
it,
I definitely went down rabbit holes before people this internet and stuff. And it's not a quest to be a know it all. It's just like
you just
this
want to
is
know.
interesting. This for whatever reason it grabbed my attention, or it's just I'm like, this is so stupid. And then I'm reading or looking into it or whatever. I would think one of the things that's been like most profound that I learned from you is definitely it just was a different upbringing background because most of my friends, family members is like, okay, their dad was in the house, right? And I didn't have that. So I know my perspective and I know like with my best friend, like, okay, one of them, their parent co-parented. And as they got older, their relationship with their daddy got different. But then like my oldest best friend, her daddy always been in the picture. Her mom and dad still married 40 plus years. So and then you see that dynamic of you know, the in and out, and then you had a stepfather, and then that dynamic. And it was just like it was so very different than mine. And also, through the years we always said like, okay, what if you do meet him or whatever like that? And it was just kind of like it was a different perspective for me that if that day ever comes, as you have, became more grown, more adulting. You took those relationships by its reign to say, like, this is how I'm going to deal with you based off of this is the genesis and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, I could potentially have a relationship, but it doesn't have to look how everybody else think it should look in terms of a daughter father situation. Like I'm still gonna kick his ass because you ain't gonna do my mama like that. Like that's hands down. But if we get over that, then you might get a little phone call here and there or whatever. But it was just always like, well, if they come back, then I have to have this type of relationship because I am the child of this parent. And then now you come back and it's like, no, it hasn't, and it just was like, and then you've been there when I was deep on my quest to find them and stuff, and it was just like, okay, so what you gonna do when you see 'em? And we would one thing we have ran through conversations like, okay, you gotta have this big conversation with this person. What do you go do? And I
You
guess
know, I'm playing
that,
on. That's even with conversations. Like,
yeah. And I guess that's something else that I learned. Like it's okay to have a conversation with a person, one, you gotta trust them. You know, where like, and they not gonna hold back and just make like, no, it can be very, very intense, and you can just be like, oh my god, I'm emotionally drained. Like, please don't. I don't want to have this conversation tomorrow or whatever, because you know when you have those conversations in your head, you are on both sides of that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But then when it's almost like a mock trial, but when I'm doing this with someone else, it's like, oh, I ain't think about that. Yes, they could say this, they could say that. So those are definitely some things that I have learned and grown um with you that I definitely think is for the betterment of my life in totality. So,
Yeah. I think that, the great thing about being friends for 18 years is that growth. And how we always talk about, this being about being in our 40s and everything in between. And it's because we have that perspective. And
mhm,
also, we've known each other since our early 20s. So,
yeah.
and nothing's wrong with meeting friends later. Because I don't believe in that whole no new friends. You can
No, sometimes you need new friends.
exactly. Um, so, but, it is, and I think that's also a privilege to have a friend that you've known that long. You know,
Mhm.
from the, like, what were we, 24, 23,
You
20?
was 24, I was 26.
Yeah, like, so 24,
Yeah.
and now I'm 42. Like, that is, so how privileged are we to be friends and have had a real friendship through that time that has stood the test of time, stood moving, and not talking for a big amount of time, not for any particular reason. It's just it was a different time, right? Like when you moved to
Right.
Bayer, you didn't have we had cell phones, but it wasn't used readily like they are now with FaceTime and texting and stuff like that. And then even having disagreements and being able to have, like you said, the hard conversations. And I think that is a great thing that even though, and you could tell me if you agree, but to me, all relationships are the same in the idea of
Mhm.
communication. Communication is important in every relationship, be it a friendship, romantic, parent,
Mhm.
work relationship. Communication is the key, and
Yes.
friendship is a great place, or it should be a great
Mhm.
place to practice communication because it's
Absolutely.
a safe space where we can have disagreements and we can actually be mad at each other, and it's okay. But
Mm.
it doesn't mean I'm no longer your friend. It means
Right.
some time. And then we're gonna come back and have this conversation and we can
Yeah.
still agree to disagree, but we can still move forward and maintain our bond and our connection, you know.
Right.
Um and like I said, that's just when you have a true friendship, that is the place to test those things out. Because when you come to
Absolutely.
romantic relationships, that's the place where you're like, oh my God, we're not together no more. We mad at each other. What does this mean? And if I was like, no, if I know how to build a real relationship over here in friendship, and I can build that friendship in my romantic relationship and be able to communicate, because you might be with a partner who, never had that, but able at least be able to communicate like my
Mhm.
expectations, like just because I'm mad, just because you're mad doesn't mean we're not together. That just means we're mad.
Right.
And we're gonna need to
Yeah, we just gotta retreat to our own corners, and then we come back together, not in the boxing ring, but we just retreat to our own corners, to process, breathe, calm down, and then we can come back together. And also, like you said, there has been times where I didn't like what she said. I might not like what she did and whatever like that. But it was like I put the value of the friendship above that. It's like, okay, so I'm mad at her. Did she do something that's just like, okay, it's a deal breaker? And it's like, nah, she made me mad. Or I just didn't agree. But I think that's the beauty of it, because those are things where I look at, my son now, he's 20. He has seen our friendship
Mhm.
all of his life. And he is so desperate to have a friend like that. And I told him, I said, your day ones may not start on day one. They really may start on day 637. I was like, but once they come, they are solid. And I think it's that quest of I see what my mama had, and they have kicked it, and they have, you know, the families and stuff like that, and he wants that. And it's just like, okay, you got some time. She was 24, I was 26. You're just 20. So
Exactly.
guess what? It may come then, but then he also looks at me and my best friend Shay. Our friendship was from when we was 4 and 5 years old. It's getting ready to be 40 years old. Our
Wow.
friendship, our sisterhood, and then it's like I want. I'm sorry, boo, but sometimes I try to tell him, do not measure the length of time.
Right.
Look at actually what is the relationships based off of, like that type of stuff. Like, okay, when times have been hard, bad, whatever, and I was like, and the relationships have went through changes and stuff too. And and it's kind of nice because I don't know if you remember a couple of years back, it was, I don't know, I was looking at something and we was talking about, oh, these people, they just like they post their friends, they done been all and they done did all that. And it was just like, well, you know what? You have it, you that it girl. It was like it's other people who looking like if we posted if Facebook or Instagram had been around the whole time, they would have seen us, almost 20 years of doing things, even if it ain't nothing, but just sitting around, you know, at the house, just chilling or watching television and stuff like that, just random days. But I was like, and then somebody that's looking like, dang, that's that. They tight, they go everywhere. They have all these different type of things, and sometimes you do focus on other people. Like, dang, they always doing that, and then you may look at like, I already got that person. They always been here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say
So
it has been a journey of friendship to sisterhood.
absolutely, absolutely, you beyond my friend. You're definitely my sister. I remember when I was working with your mother. One day she was, I don't know what was happening, but I was just remember she was like, I just look at you and Myochi, and I always say, everybody need a friend like y'all. And I just felt like that was such an honor, like she being, in this friendship, this age, just like she sees our friendship and how we are, and just like everybody should have a friend like my daughter or a friend like my daughter's friend. And that was just really, really nice and refreshing. And my mother, she has, said, she was like, y'all remind me of me and Al, that was her best friend. She was like, y'all be going, y'all be doing stuff. And it was just kind of like, we might be on to something.
For sure. I will say what my next my I guess the last question is, what are we looking forward to in the new year 2024 as far as new experiences, growth individually? What would you
Mm.
say you're looking forward to in 2024 in our, and even with the podcast, in our friendship? What would you say?
I definitely, speaking of the podcast, because we're here on the 40 spot, please like, comment, subscribe, rate us, follow us. Um, I definitely want us I see us really, because we have so much potential in this too. And I know our lives are very, very busy, but coming up with a plan and stick with it, to grow the channel, to get to more viewers and listeners, and try to be a part of some of these community things where they just don't see, like, okay, well, we talking about the issues, we have solutions, but now we putting feet on the ground. um Also, being able to come up with our panel. So I don't want to give it all away, but it's just some things like, even before we did our first episode or after our second or third episode, it's like we want to do this certain things. So do that. get some more great guests on, talk about even more stuff that's more relevant to today to us as we going in to get number three. Can't even believe it.
Exactly. And I think that's the thing. Like, since we've started, we've grown, we've
Hmm.
evolved, and I think it's getting into your 40s, you start evolving and you're changing. You see the way you're changing. Maybe it's physically and mentally, spiritually, and I do look forward to being able to show up in that as that new person in 2024. And not that the old person is bad, but just that evolution of how we have both evolved while in our 40s, like to our 40s, and then while we are moving through our 40s. And so I look forward to next year in that way, because I definitely want us to be able to offer more in this space, in this platform, and to connect more with people in the different cities, and just I just feel like it's so much potential. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. What I would love to say is Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year. Um, I am excited about bringing in the new year with you once
Yes,
again. I definitely look forward to that. I just having fun bringing in the new year with you know good close friend. I already know we're gonna have a blast. It's going to be a fun time. I think it's going to even be better because we're going to stay on site and we ain't got to worry about, oh, we got to drive back. All we got to do is just kind of make it upstairs and make it to our room, and everything's gonna be well. I can't hear you. Your voice is muted.
exactly. So um this is our last show for 2023. So that's why I said Happy New Year.
Yeah,
But it's our last show for 2023. 2023, we have been making it. We pushed it. Our dedication, our faith, our consistency, our just not
yeah,
want to give up is why we have been able to make it through the year, because this year has been really difficult trying to maintain things in life, because there's so many things, and then also
yeah,
the podcast. And I'm glad to be here with you, my sister, like, and being could honestly say I'm looking forward to next year and
yeah,
what we will be able to do. There's some goals we didn't hit, but I think that everything has a journey, and sometimes there's the point of, like, you know what, you're not having no movement right now, but just stay, just keep stay right here, stay right here. It's okay, just stay right here until you're able to push to get to that.
yeah.
So that's my hope and my prayer, that we're able to do that in 2024. Um, so thank y'all for joining us for our last of 2023.
Yes, this is our official show now. We will go live once we get there together, but it's just gonna be, just a little fun. We just go check in. Please send us an email. Let us know what y'all doing for the new year, how y'all will bring it in. Even if it ain't on the 31st, do it on the first. Um, I promise I'm gonna make this declaration. We're gonna be posting more because I know we just fell all the way off.
Listen,
So we gotta try to get back on this algorithm, as they call it. But definitely, definitely, definitely look forward to, big things popping and more things in 2024. We wish everyone a safe 2024. Oh, also Christmas. We are talking about New Year's. We done hopped over.
okay. But before Christmas, what we do want to make sure that we celebrate people and things that's going on in people's lives. Let's celebrate. Hey, we need another picture. But anyway, my first person I want to say happy birthday to is my soror line sister Ariel and Hilda.
Okay.
Their birthdays just passed. One of my classmates, her anniversary. So happy anniversary to Monique and Joe. And just yeah. Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy New Year. Renee, who you got?
Okay, my sister, she celebrated her birthday on the 9th. I wish her a happy birthday. Um, Also, my little cousin, she turned 5, as her mama said, she turned in 21. Aubrey, she is, and I want to celebrate that my son, he is in college. He is halfway through his program. Thank you, Jesus.
Woo-hoo!
So, we gotta celebrate these mid milestones.
Every
So
milestone. Amen.
2024, he is
Go
gonna
ahead,
graduate.
Corey.
Yes, so I am definitely excited for that. Also, for Net in the comment, she said her nephew Javian's birthday was on the 15th. So happy belated birthday to him. It's probably a lot of other people who I have sadly just missed. I didn't have my paper in front of me, but
Celebrate
we
everybody.
absolutely,
We
absolutely,
say blame it on our head, not our hearts.
true, true,
Yes.
true.
And like we've said before, if you have a birthday or you have an anniversary that you want to celebrate, if you have a promotion, Sherlyn, I just found out Sherlyn, who was on a few weeks ago, the makeup artist in Texas, she just got a new promotion. So
Yay!
congratulations. I found it out 2 days. So congratulations to her. Yes, we just want to celebrate life. We want to celebrate all the great things that are happening in people's lives. So please just let us know so that we can celebrate you. So we can celebrate you and here. So DM us. You can email us at the40spot@gmail.com or the40spot on all social media.
Absolutely. Um, we love you. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, or whatever it is that you celebrate. Happy New Year. Be safe out here on highways and byways.
And as
And
we always say, if it costs you your peace, it is too expensive. Y'all have
absolutely.
a wonderful next few weeks. Enjoy all your holidays, your breaks, your family, your friends, and we will see you in 2024. Bye.
Bye bye.